Good day, everyone. I'm not sure if anyone is in the chat right now. Just give me one moment. Hi guys, sorry, I know you're not seeing me right now. I'm just trying to fix the camera. So give me one moment. Let me see where it is here. Okay. Just a moment. Here we go. There. How's that? Can you guys hear me and see me? There. Yes, Saeed, a little bit off schedule, but because I was away last week, but now I'm back, so I think just the reminder was forgotten about, so sorry about that, but good to see some people in the chat. Because there was no reminder, there was nobody in the chat when I started just now, so good to see you all. How's it going? What's new? I see the usual people in the chat, which is nice. Hagar, Harry, and Lolly, Maya, Gertie, Saeed, Imad, Elm, Karima. You should be able to see me now. Hi, Kamal and Najmadin. Hello, hello. Yeah, everything's good. Nice to be back. Going to change the screen now. Yeah, so last week I was away. Well, I was here in Vancouver having a staycation, using up a few extra vacation days. So it was nice. I went snowboarding a few days. We do not have much snow here in Vancouver on the North Shore Mountains, sadly, but hoping it will come and the resort will get better. So, but I still had fun up there and did a hike and celebrated some birthdays of my friends. So yeah, it was good, a good break. And now I'm back for this week's stream. And then I am actually going to be away for Christmas, okay? So today we'll do stream 29, and then I'm going to be back in the new year, actually, which is, I believe, January 7th, okay? So let's enjoy our hour today, and we're going to be talking about indirect questions today, okay? I'm going to give you guys some grammar tips and reminders on these style of questions. Hopefully you find it useful. And yeah, this is an intermediate level, so not super advanced and not super beginner, just in the middle. And let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to participate in the chat. And yeah, let's get started. Hi, Victor and Sam. Thank you. Nice to be back. All right, so today's topic, we're going to talk about indirect questions. So basically, you can ask a direct question and you can ask an indirect question. It's really good to practice with both styles because both styles are needed to, continue on your fluency path. And yeah, basically a direct question is more to the point. For example, do you know whose shoes these are? Okay, does anyone know whose shoes these are? This is direct. But if you want to make it indirect, you have to add more to the question. Like, I was wondering if anyone knew whose shoes these are. Sorry, I was wondering if anyone knows whose shoes these are. Okay. Hi, Nanad. Hello, Alamu. Okay, not yours, Lolly. Muhammad, I'm not an expert on the answer to that question. There are some changes concerning grammar rules between British and North American English. Yes, there are some changes, but not too many, you know. Also just differences in expressions and slang and stuff like that. But yes, there are some changes. Okay, so let's continue on here. Let's do a little review on what, which, whose. Okay. Saeed, the spelling is indirect, okay, with the, here, indirect questions, okay. We're gonna do a quick review on the difference between what, which, and whose, and then we'll continue on to the rules of creating indirect questions, okay. So, just a quick review. Sometimes it can be confusing to use what or which and whose. Whose is pretty simple to remember because whose is for possession, okay? What and which, they can often both be used, but basically we prefer which when we have a limited amount of options for our question, okay? So we'll look at some examples. So here, for what and which and whose. Some examples. What kind of pasta did you eat? You know, there are many different kinds of pasta, so we're not really being specific here. So what is good? I mean, someone might say, which kind of pasta did you eat? It's okay, but if you're not thinking of a limited amount of choices, most people will say what. Here, if you're wondering about ownership, you're not going to say what computer here is yours. Sorry, it's not about ownership, but we are being specific about here. So our amount of choices is limited. Imagine you're in a classroom with 8 computers. So it's good to say which computer here is yours, okay? And again, for this one, sorry, I jumped the gun. For this one, we're wondering about ownership. So we're going to say, whose coat is that? You know, who owns it? A couple more examples. What size pants will you buy? Okay, there are many sizes. And which street should I take? Here we've got kind of options, so it's better to use which. We're giving the options, Main or Pender. Which street should I take? Okay, so we only have 2 options, very limited. Whose glasses are these? Again, you're wondering who owns the glasses. So definitely you're going to use whose. 3 more examples. What type of movies do you like? There are many different types, so what is good? Again, in the second example, we're giving options. So, you know, which country are you from, Canada or the USA? Again, if you're going to delete those options, you can just say, what country are you from? Which country are you from? Remember, what and which are often interchangeable, meaning you can use either one. But basically the rule is if you're thinking about a limited amount, a limited number of things, which is better? And often when we're speaking, we give the limited number, we say it. Like for example, which color do you want to paint the walls? This one or this one? And you show them, you know. Muhammad, it really depends on the context of the question, okay? Whom and who are often both used. Whom is considered a little more formal, I would say. Yeah, Gertie, that's a good way of thinking it. Exactly, good way of thinking about it. Now, when the question word is how, we're often following that with an adjective or an adverb, okay? So let's take a look. How far is Whistler from Vancouver? Okay. And how much money did you pay? How many times have you flown on an airplane? How often do you drink? How tall are you? Or how heavy is your bag? How fast can you run? How many brothers and sisters do you have? Okay. So, like I said, that was just a very quick review on the difference between whose, what, and which, as well as how with adjective adverb. And these are all direct questions, okay? How many brothers and sisters do you have? This is a direct question. How fast can you run? Direct. All of these questions that we just went over are direct questions, okay? Up here as well, just moving up. These are all direct questions, okay? So let's get started on the rules to create an indirect question. Arjuno, well, not yet, you didn't miss the class. We're doing it now, so welcome. It goes on till 4 o'clock. All right, so imagine, okay, so direct questions, indirect questions. For myself, I definitely use a mix of the both of them. It really depends on your audience and who you're speaking to and your comfort level with that person, okay? And even if I'm speaking to someone who I'm very comfortable and close with, there might be times where I will ask them an indirect question, okay? It really depends person to person. But indirect questions, just like the word indirect, they are more polite because they are less direct. You know, the opposite of direct, indirect. They sound a lot softer, which in turn sounds a lot more polite, okay? Look at this first direct question. What time is it? Okay. So here, you know, if I'm talking to my partner or my parents or my siblings or my friends, this is probably the question I'm going to ask. Hey, what time is it? We have our inversion, verb, subject, okay? What time is it? However, imagine you're walking down the street and you need to know the time, and you turn to a complete stranger and you say, hey, what time is it? I mean, it's pretty abrupt, okay? It's pretty direct. In this case, it's more common to say, you know, hey, excuse me, could you please tell me what time it is, right? Or, hey, would you mind letting me know what time it is? You know, I was wondering if you knew the time, you know. So there are different ways to create your indirect question. But this is an example of what I like to call a softening phrase, because this is the phrase that leads up to the question and makes it much softer, okay? So you'll notice a big difference here. We have verb subject, but here we have subject verb, okay? Indirect questions are longer and they do not follow the same word order as a direct question. So let's talk about the form. Mali, I'm sorry, I can't do a one-on-one help with an English exam, unfortunately. Hopefully these videos will help you though. Hi Noir, how's it going? Okay, so the form. When we do indirect questions, we do not use inversion, okay? So this means, like I've just said, we do not place the auxiliary verb before the subject, okay? In fact, you will notice that the word order of an indirect question, it's the same as a positive sentence, okay? Hi Tatiana, nice to see you. Let's look at a couple examples. Okay, so direct question. We have what we call inversion, right? Auxiliary verb and then subject. Where is he going? Where is he going? We have our question word, we have our auxiliary verb, and we have our subject. This is a direct question, straight to the point. It's not rude or anything, it's just a direct question. Okay, where is he going? If you want to make this a lot softer, you can use a phrase, do you know? Okay, and then the question word will remain in place, but you do need to do the switch. Okay, do you know where he's going? A lot of times in speaking, he and is contracted. Okay, so do you know where he's going? The answer will be the same form. He's going to the bathroom. Okay, so as you can see, positive sentence is the same form as an indirect question. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. What languages can she speak? Okay, we have our question words, what languages? We have our modal and subject, inversion. Do you have any idea what languages she can speak? Okay, so do you have any idea is the softening phrase. There are different ones you can use. You have your question words, and then you have to put subject before verb. Okay, and again, the positive sentence will be the same order. She can speak English and Spanish. Let's see. Gertie, what changes? Well, the changes is the order. Intonation, question mark, many people still use a question mark even if it's a regular word order with the indirect question. Intonation is still the same where it goes up. What languages can she speak? Do you have any idea what languages she can speak? Intonation is quite the same, but the main change is the order, the word order. Direct question, it's verb, subject. Indirect question, it's subject, and then auxiliary verb or modal verb. Okay? And one more example. Lolly, your example, could you please tell me where the closest bank is? Okay, you have to put is at the end, after the subject. Okay. Direct question. What country was Jack born in? Indirect question. Do you happen to know what country Jack was born in? Okay, you're changing the order. Okay. And the same order as a positive sentence. Jack was born in Austria. So before we move on to the next point, Nawar, do you have any idea when I will get rich? I hope soon. I hope you get rich soon, but I'm not sure. Okay, so going over to this document, which as usual, you'll have it in the chat later on. Let's see, here are some examples of softening phrases. Okay, to begin the indirect questions. Of course, we have, could you please tell me, can you please tell me, whether you use can or could, it doesn't really matter. Okay, same. Do you know? Some people like to add, do you happen to know? Okay. I was wondering, which is common with if questions. Do you have any idea? Some people like to say, I'd like to know, or I'd love to know. Is there any chance you can, or is there any chance you could? Doesn't really matter which modal you use. Okay. Can is kind of more first conditional, real, and could is more second conditional. Okay. Grammar reminders. So the first one, remember that indirect questions, they follow regular word order, which means no inversion. I have some examples here. We're going to do it one by one. I want you guys to think of the change and add your own softening phrases. You know, the ones we just read through. Pick a few of them to try different ones, and in the chat, if you could, please start with this first one and just write write the question, and even you can put the answer in if you want. All right, I'll give you guys a moment to think about that. Let me see. Rodrigo, question mark is not required as it is a regular word order, but it can be used, and a lot of people do, because it is a question. It doesn't follow question word order, but it is a question. Your favorite color is red. I'd like to know what your favorite color is. There we go. Yes. So all we're doing is we're changing these same questions. We're changing them to indirect questions. So Tatiana, thank you. We have a softening phrase. I'd like to know. Okay, that's the softening phrase. Same question word. And then subject, your favorite color. And then verb, is. Okay? And to answer the question, you would just say, my favorite color is blue or red. Okay? What's your favorite sport? We're going to go to the next one. What's your favorite? And let's just see, Najma Din, if you're attending CCL here in Vancouver, it could just be delayed, but you will get something in your email, if that's the question. Hi, Sid. Could you tell me what your favorite sport is? Perfect. Very similar to the first one. Could you tell me what your favorite sport is? Good. Good. Could you tell me, I'd love to know what your favorite sport is. I was wondering what your favorite sport is. My favorite sport is probably snowboarding and hockey. Rodrigo, you love rugby? Nice. Nice. Awesome. Next one, where should we put these flowers? How can you ask this in an indirect way? Where should we put these flowers? Football, of course. Where should we put these flowers? Nawar, good. Do you have any idea where we should put these flowers? Good. Perfect. Do you have any idea where we should put these flowers? I'm wondering where we should put these flowers. Do you know where we should put these flowers? Okay. Could you please tell me where we should put these flowers? All different options, but you just have to make sure you remember to put we before should, right? And then we have your favorite sport before verb. Your favorite color before the verb. Do you know a good place where we should put these flowers, these ones? Yeah, Rodrigo, you could change it a little bit. Do you know, don't forget the K before the N. Do you know a good place where we should, don't forget should, where we should put these ones? Gertie, could you tell me where we should put these flowers? You need to have should in the indirect question, and these flowers. Maya, where do you think we should put these flowers? Good. Very natural. Tatiana, do you happen to know what time we should leave? Good. Go on to the next one. Do you happen to know what time we should leave? Good. We have our subject before our auxiliary modal verb. Mally, in your opinion, we should put them on the table. Nice. JB, can we say at what time should we leave? Yes, you can say that. Yep. I think it sounds a bit more formal, but maybe that is what you're going for, so it's good. Would you let me know what time we should leave? Yep. Komal, that's good. Might be more natural to use could. Could you let me know what time we should leave? Can you tell me what time we should leave? Yeah. Hi, Harryom. Welcome. We are discussing indirect questions. And the next one. What have you had time to finish? What have you had time to finish? So Pedro, if you're just joining in, we need to first put a softening phrase, and then we just need to, change the order, put the subject before the verb. There you go, Maya, that's good. I'll make sure to let you know when your answers are natural sounding. But that was good. What have you had time to finish? Do you know what you've had time to finish? Yep, that's good. Rodrigo, let me know. Just so you know, the spelling of that is not considered correct. But for speaking and texting and casual, it's good. Let me know what you. So you're changing the question. This is a little bit of a strange question. What have you had time to finish? So it just means like, what have you completed so far? Could you tell me what you have had time to finish? Good, Kamal. Could you tell me what you've had time to finish? Yeah, this is present perfect. And a lot of people at the end, they might use the expression so far. The word so far. Could you tell me what you've had time to finish so far? Maybe this is something a boss would ask their employee. We could even ask, could you please let me know what you've had time to finish? Okay, good. All right, so the first grammar reminder that we've done so far in this stream is that indirect questions, they are longer, they come with a softening phrase, which are different and they vary. And you have to follow regular word order. So that means that you do not use inversion. Okay? I'm going to go back to Smrt. And we're going to review another grammar tip. Okay? So, if you're asking a question in the positive, past simple or positive present simple, when we're asking a direct question, we use do, does, or did, right? You've learned this before. But just like positive sentences with indirect questions, we do not use these auxiliaries, so they must be removed, okay? And you must have your subject and a verb agree in the new question. So let's take a look. Direct question, where does he live? Indirect question, could you tell me where he lives? So this one, you got to add an S because our subject is he, and you must delete does, okay? And the positive sentence is the same order. He lives in North Vancouver. Okay. Example 2. When did Mary call? we're using did for past and then subject, Mary. Base form of the verb because it's following did. Indirect question, do you know when Mary called? Right? You have to remember to add the ed and delete did and put the subject first. Mary called at around 11 a.m. Subject verb agreement, that's right. Could you tell me where he lives? Good job, Weil. One more example and we'll do our own. Direct question, where do you do your homework? Indirect question, can you tell me where you do your homework? You do your homework at home. Okay, so look, we have do and we have do. Well, that is because do can be the main verb of the sentence as well, right? So don't forget that. You are deleting the auxiliary verb do, but you are keeping your main verb do, okay? So that's to say here, just be careful. If this example was confusing, it's because do is often the main verb of the sentence, okay? So let's take a look here. Do you know what James does for a living? Okay, so here it's our main verb. The direct question would be, what does James do for a living? Could you explain to me why you did that? Okay, so the direct question would be, why did you do that? I'm not sure when I'll do my laundry. This is not a question, it's a statement, but I'd love to know when you will do your laundry, could be the question. Yes, Rodrigo, the indirect question carries do because do is the main verb. Okay, that's what you have to be careful for. Back to the document. And the next rule we have just gone over, auxiliary verbs do, does, did are deleted in positive present simple and positive past simple indirect question. Want to make it indirect? I'd like to know how much this motorcycle costs. Okay? You got to add that S to agree with motorcycle. You will, Noir, you'll get there. It takes a lot of time, but you will. It's tricky. Okay, well, stay with us. We'll do some more examples, Rodrigo. Look at these questions. These are direct. Can you guys please change them to indirect? Okay, so the first one is, where does your friend work? Costs. This one? Well? Yes, Gertie, that's right. The change comes after the question word. Who, what, where, when, why, what time, how many apples. The change is only the subject and the auxiliary verb. That's the only change, okay? Yes, Kamal, you certainly can. Yeah. Is she going to come tomorrow? Yep. I'd love to know if she's going to come tomorrow or not. Do you know where does your friend work? Do you know where your friends work? So Noir, you just have your S on the wrong word. Tatiana, could you tell me where your friend works? Good. Yeah. Good. Could you tell me where your friend works? Yeah. Pedro, passive. Has the cake been baked? I'd love to know if the cake has been baked. It's possible. It's still possible. Was her phone stolen? Could you tell me if her phone was stolen? It does not interfere, no. But tag questions are different story, which we will get to next stream, actually. What time did your mom show up? Lolly, I'm wondering where your friend works. Don't forget to put the verb works after the subject. Fat Toes, could you tell me where your friend works? Perfect. Maya, do you know where your friend works? Good. Yeah. Gertie, could you tell me where your friend works? Perfect. Nawar, could you please tell me when your mother showed up? Yeah. That's great. Just a note, your question is very kind of formal, which is great. Could you please tell me? But this question, it's quite casual because show up is a phrasal verb to mean arrive, and it's really casual. Okay, so it might be better to do just like, do you know? Do you know what time your mom showed up? Yeah. Does anybody know what time her mother showed up? Tatiana, I'd like to know what time your mom showed up. Good. Could you tell me what time your mom showed up? Do you know when your mom showed up? Yeah, Noir, we use show up to appear, but like to arrive, we usually use it. It's casual, like what time. But if you're talking to appear, it's more about things, But thinking about that, things can't really show up because it's people who show up. It's more about arriving, but arriving could also be seen as appearing, right? When did they finally show up, or what time are you going to show up tomorrow? Did your friends show up at all? Yeah. It does mean appear. You can think of it as appear, but if you think of all the examples, it's about people appearing, right? So you can also think about it as arriving. In my head, I think about it as arriving, but there's differences, right? Shall, yeah. And it's good you said, Rodrigo, your grandpa said that a lot. It is definitely, I think, something like our grandparents' generations say more than younger generations, but it's still used. I use shall. It's commonly used for suggestions. What shall we do today? Shall we go to the mall? Shall we dance? All right, next one. When did you move to Vancouver? When did you move to Vancouver? Pedro, I don't think I'm understanding what you mean by interfere. But yeah, this lesson is about indirect questions, so that's kind of what we're focusing on. I'd like to know when you moved to Vancouver. Good. I'll just do short form ban. Tatiana, do you remember when you moved to Vancouver? Good. Do you remember? That's a good softening phrase. Same with Nawar. I'm wondering when you moved to Vancouver. Good, Komal. Could you please tell me when you moved to Vancouver? Good, Fatos. Let me know when your mom moved to Vancouver. So Lolly, the let me know, if you just say let me know, it's usually like when you let me know what time you want to leave, or let me know what you want me to bring to the party. It's very, if you don't say could you let me know, it's kind of half a softening phrase, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's usually when you're offering to do something for somebody else and you want to know what they want you to do, Wael, Vancouver, that's where we are. Vancouver, where I am, sorry. Vancouver, British Columbia. Okay, here. What does Jess want for dinner? I'm looking at the time. We've got about 15 minutes, so let's finish these two, and I'll talk about one more thing. Nawar, do you have any idea what Jess wants? Good, wants for dinner? Good. Roger, could you tell me when you moved to Vancouver, if that doesn't cause you any annoyance? Yes, now that is very, very, very polite. Very polite. Just to give you a more common expression, most people would say, you know, I'd love to know when you moved to Vancouver, if you don't mind me asking. Okay, that's a really, if you're asking a question that you think might be a little personal, usually we add that, you know, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do for a living? Or if you don't mind me asking, when did you move here? Yeah. If you don't mind me asking. A little more common than if that doesn't cause you any annoyance. Yeah. Maya, do you happen to know what Jess wants for dinner? That's good. Yeah. Good one. Natural. Gertie, I'm wondering what Jess wants for dinner. That's a good one too. And which one, sorry, one more. Which date did Tim pick for his party? Which date did Tim pick for his party? That's direct. Do you know which date Tim picked for his party? Good one, Kamal. Do you know which date Tim picked for his party? Do you have any idea which date Tim picked for his party? Yeah. Just be careful there, Pedro, a little bit with your order. Do you have any idea which or what date Tim picked Edie? That's right, Rodrigo. Fair enough. Okay, let's move on. We got one more thing to talk about. So, indirect questions using if or whether. So, last thing to remind you that if there is no question word in your question, like who, what, where, when, why, how, that means that it's a yes or no question. And for these questions, you have to use if or whether. Okay, so you have to add if or add whether. Doesn't matter which one you choose. So, is he from Thailand? This question starts with an auxiliary verb. So, you know, you're going to assume it's a yes or no question, or no. So, to make the indirect question, you have your softening phrase, and then you need to add if or whether, and then do the change, the subject before the verb. Do you know if he's from Thailand? Some people add or not on the end. Do you know if he's from Thailand or not? Is it almost lunchtime? Do you have any idea if it's almost lunchtime? Okay. If you're choosing to use the word whether, you can put or not right after whether. Okay. For example, do you have any idea whether or not it's lunchtime? Okay. Or you can put it at the end. Do you have any idea if it's lunchtime or not? Do you have any idea whether it's lunchtime or not? Were the shoes expensive? Do you remember if the shoes were expensive? Did it rain last night? Do you happen to know if it rained last night? Okay. So, a couple more examples to finish off. Okay, so if the direct question is a yes or no question, Then you have to add if, whether to the indirect question. Yes or no questions begin with an auxiliary verb or a modal verb. All right, so example, direct. Do they speak English? This is a yes or no question. So indirect, I was wondering if they speak English. Let's check in the chat. Yeah, Noir, I have never been to Seattle, but I've heard that they're quite similar, for sure. Yeah. Pedro, do you mean if and whether have the same meaning? In this case, yes. Cater, you believe if you focus grammar, you will never learn. You must speak to native speakers and practice on your own. Yeah, definitely. You should really get out there and definitely challenge yourself to be in uncomfortable English-speaking situations. Definitely. But it is still important to study the grammar structures, for sure, to improve your speaking together. But if you never practice speaking, that's a problem, definitely. Gertie, do you know if Julia is Canadian? So don't forget the do you know. And yes, I am. So, yes, Wail, same. If it's just the be verb and it's starting with the be verb, it's a yes or no question. Yeah. Let's take a look here. Would you like to join us for dinner? Can you make this indirect? Would you like to join us for dinner? Would you like to join us for dinner? Using would to start a request, question, invitation. Could you tell me if you would like to join us for dinner? Mm-hmm. Could you tell me if we could contract, if you would, if you'd like to join us for dinner? Good. No thanks. All right. Should I pick up a cake on my way home? How could we make this indirect? Brian, could you tell me if you, don't forget would, if you would like to join us for dinner? Should I pick up a cake on my way home? This is a yes or no question. So, what do we say? Here we have our if. I'm wondering if I should, good. I'm wondering, that's good, if I should pick up a cake on my way home. Perfect, Lolly, good job. I'm wondering is a good softening phrase there. Next one. Does Gina want to adopt a dog? Starting with auxiliary does. Does Gina want to adopt a dog? Shall is not commonly used in an indirect question, Pedro. It's much more common to use it as a direct question. Shall I pick up a cake on my way home? Just direct. Because it's already super polite, so it doesn't really, we can't really make an indirect question with shall. Shall I pick up a cake on my way home? Could you let me know if I shall pick, yeah, it's strange, shall in an indirect question. Okay, do you know if Gina wants to adopt a dog? Good. Kamal, do you have any idea if Gina wants to adopt a dog? Tatiana, do you know if Gina wants to adopt a dog? Good. Yep. And nobody's using whether. It seems like if is a more your go-tos then. Do you have any idea if Gina wants, to adopt a dog? I think if is what I usually say too. That's right, wow. Don't forget your S on wants, Lolly. Could you tell me if Gina wants to adopt a dog? Gertie, I'd like to know if Gina wants to adopt a dog. Good stuff. Cool. All right, 2 more. First, was your boss satisfied with your presentation? Was your boss satisfied with your presentation? In this case, the most a common softening phrase might be, do you have any idea? Good, Noir, you're thinking that way too, and Fatos. Yeah. Do you have any idea if your boss, do you have any idea whether or not your boss we'll keep it past, was satisfied with your presentation? Yep. Fatos, don't forget your be verb before after boss if your boss was. Okay, so do you have any idea whether or not your boss was satisfied with your presentation? Good. When you're using whether, that's the only time you can put or not right after it. If you're using if, you have to put or not at the end. Okay, you can't put it if or not. Whether, you can choose to put it right after whether or put it at the end of the sentence. Good, Tatiana. Yeah. Good, Gertie, yeah. JB, are you sure that your boss was satisfied? So that's not indirect, but good direct. One more. Have you been here before? Have you been here before? Have you been here before? I'm wondering if you've been here before. Good. A lot of people with this kind of present perfect question would say, have you ever been here before? Have you ever been here before? I'm wondering if you've ever been here before. Does she know if you've been here before? Good, Maya. I'm wondering if you've been here before. Don't forget here, Gertie. Lolly, could you tell me if you have been here before? Good. Wild, do you know if you have been here before? Awesome, guys. Good. Good stuff. Okay. And just going back to Smrt for one more thing. Again, here are some common ways to ask indirect questions, which some of these are on the document, which I'll share with you guys. Could you tell me? Do you know? You could put please here before tell. Could you please tell me? Do you happen to know? Have you got any idea? Do you remember? Would you mind telling me? Okay. These are all options to start your indirect questions. If or not is wrong, Rodrigo, because if you're using if or not has to go at the end, you know. Yeah, you have to put it at the end. So, you know, I'm wondering whether or not I should go. I'm wondering whether I should go or not. Both are okay because I'm using whether. But if I use if, I'm wondering if I should go or not. We can't say, I'm wondering if or not I should go. We don't say that. Yeah. Maya, we would say, can anybody guess? Can anybody guess? If you've been here before. Yeah. Good. So, little recap. I'm sorry, Noir, that's not my channel. So if you want the more advanced grammar, you have to find a different streamer for that, unfortunately. Sorry. But yes, going to finish off here with a quick recap, and I will share this document in the chat. But remember, when you are forming your indirect questions, very good to use when you are talking to strangers, coworkers, bosses, people you're not super close with. Anytime you want to be more polite or less direct, practice your softening phrases, practice your indirect questions. Try to use a variety of different softening phrases. Some grammar reminders that the indirect questions follow regular word order, no inversion. Auxiliary verbs do, does, did are deleted. And if or whether is added to a yes or no question. Okay? So, that's it. Let me put this in the chat. I'm just going to get it a bit smaller. Go back here. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Gertie, have you got any idea what you are going to do during Christmas time? Yeah, so I'm going to go spend Christmas with my family. I'm very excited. My brothers, sister, parents, nephew, extended family, grandparents, so it should be good. I'm really excited. Yeah. Okay. Komal, it's very difficult for me to tell not knowing you and not being face to face, but I want to say yes, I'm sure you are improving. If you're here all the time and doing whatever you can, I'm sure you must be. Okay? So I'll wish everyone happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope you enjoy good time with family, good food, and yeah, I'll be back in the new year. So see you Tuesday, January 7th, I believe is the next date. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Have a great, great afternoon or evening, whatever it might be. Okay, take care. I'll see you guys soon.